Good evening, parents. I'm going to start making videos of any concepts that we're learning in math so that I can post them onto the website and you can kind of watch them and see how the students are learning them. That way you can help them more at home. These videos, unfortunately, can't be very long, so I'm going to be kind of going quickly. So if you ever want me to make another video on the same concept with different examples or go deeper into something, just shoot me an email and I can make another one and focus more on what you need to see. I hope that these help you, and I hope that they show you kind of how we're doing it in the classroom. That way you can help them at home and keep it pretty consistent. So today, the first video that I made is for fact families. A fact family is 4 equations, and there's 2 addition and 2 subtraction. And all 4 equations only use 3 numbers, and these are the same 3 numbers. So over here, sometimes fact families are shown in a triangle with the answer or the largest number at the top, and then the 2 addends or the 2 numbers being added together at the bottom. So what I did was I set up my 4 equations, and I just kind of have to fill in the blanks with all of the numbers up here in the triangle. So my 3 numbers here are 16, 11, and 5. And what I need to do is I need to place those into the correct spaces here in my equation. So the students have been learning that the largest number has a special place to go in addition and in subtraction problems. We know that whenever we're adding things up, we're adding the 2 smaller numbers, and they're going to equal the biggest number. So the biggest number is 16, and that's going to always be the answer for an addition problem. So I'm just going to write that there so that we know that the 16 is always going to be the answer. And then we know that in a subtraction problem, it's the opposite. The largest number always has to be at the beginning because then we're taking away and we're going to end up with a smaller number than we started with. We try to kind of use money examples. So say if you start with $5 and you get 11 more dollars, then you're going to end with 16. Or if you start with 16 and you spend 5, you're only going to have 11 left. So we kind of try to use money as an example because I feel like it's easier for them to picture. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say I know that the biggest number is at the end of addition. I know that it's at the beginning of subtraction. I'm going to write those in because now we've already used our 16. We can't use it again because each number can only be used one time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill it in now. I know that 11 plus 5 is 16, but I also know that I can take 5 plus 11 and I'll get the same answer. In addition, it doesn't matter what order your number's in because you're going to get the same answer. In subtraction, we know that we always have to start with the largest number, and I know that 16 minus 11 equals 5, and I know that 16 minus 5 equals 11. The one thing that students kind of get mixed up with is usually the subtraction because they might write 11 minus 16 equals 5, or they might write it in an order that doesn't make sense. So the one thing that we always just want to make sure that we're teaching them is that once they finish, they need to just make sure that it makes sense, because if we have 16 plus 5 equals 11, they need to be able to look at that and say, oh, well, I have a large number and I added some, and how did I end up with a smaller number? So we just kind of want them to think about, is it reasonable? Does it make sense? So we'll do another example. So other than a triangle, they might see fact families in a number bond. And a number bond is, it's the same thing. It's just circles with a line instead. So let's do 7, 3, and 4. My largest number is at the top, or in the solo circle. Sometimes it's drawn sideways, which would look like that. But the number by itself is always the sum or the largest number, and these 2 are the addends or the numbers being added. So once again, we know that in an addition problem, the largest number is always at the end. So 7 is my largest number. In a subtraction problem, we know that the largest number is always at the beginning because we're starting with something big and we're taking away from it, and we're going to end up with something smaller. So I'm going to put my largest number at the beginning. Now we know for addition, we've already used our 7. We can't use it anymore. We know that 3 plus 4 is 7. We also know that 4 plus 3 is 7. For subtraction, we should have our 7 filled in. Now we need to say 7 minus 3 equals 4. 7 minus 4 equals 3. So now that I've made it all, I need to go and make sure 2 smaller equals a big, 2 smaller equals a big, big minus small equals small, big minus small equals small. They all make sense, and it's okay if you need to take that extra time to check it. So if you have any other questions, send me an email and I'll try to explain it a little bit more. But we remember that a fact family is 4 equations with 2 addition, 2 subtraction, and it always uses the same 3 numbers. And we're always going to give them numbers that work out. We'll never give them anything that tricks them that it wouldn't work out. All right, well, have a good night. I hope this helps. Thanks.